Well, ladies and gentlemen, so welcome to our conjunction video of the week. And this week we're going to be covering our conjunction of Mercury, Mars, Saturn, and Ketu. And what happens when Mercury, Mars, Saturn, and Ketu are conjunct in your particular horoscope. And as always, if you do not know if you have this conjunction, what sign it's in, what nakshatra it's in, what house it's in, for that, check out the links here. Check out my full astrological report, including my books, Astrology, Conjunction, Aspects, and Mahadashas at the Speed of Light, including all my consultations at this link. So, Mercury, Mars, Saturn, and Ketu conjunction. Well, first of all, this is a very technical conjunction. A person with this type of a conjunction usually goes into things like electrical engineering. They go into even mechanical engineering. Such people love doing research in mechanics, robotics. But one of the things that we see with this person is that this is the hardest person to communicate. Either they do not know how to communicate back, or they don't have the ability to know what you're communicating with them. Like, this person can be very harsh, very blunt in their way of communicating, especially if this occurs in Shiva ruled nakshatras. Like, if it occurs in a Shiva ruled nakshatra, most definitely you can see this person is going to be blunt. Okay. Usually there's always either a karmic relationship with a maternal uncle or siblings and brothers, especially younger siblings. Either a person will not have younger siblings, or relationship with them is extremely competitive. One always gets into fight, one always gets into all kinds of arguments and bickering with the sibling. But still, you know, even if one fights, they always kind of have the ability to make up with someone, right? Like, you can hate your sibling so much yet you'll always be there to save them and help them. Usually that happens if you have this conjunction and third from Mars receives high Ashtakvarga points. Then you will always be there to save your sibling. You'll always be there to pull them out, even you hate them and you get into all kinds of arguments with them. And this is a conjunction that can make a person an extremely athletic individual. This is a person that is very competitive in sports, very competitive in career, very, very competitive in business, very competitive and even in relationships. Like, for them, they thrive on competition. And depending upon, which house this conjunction occurs, especially if you're looking at like the first and seventh axis of this conjunction, one most definitely will have a lot of nervous issues, nervous problems, and anxiety. Although an anxiety with this conjunction can occur in any house, any sign, it's literally the nakshatra that matters again. Because remember, Mercury is communication. Mercury is nervous system. Mercury is languages. Mercury is everything. Mercury is your prana. I actually just made a video on Mercury, which is called the most important planet that nobody really cares for. Because everybody wants to go to Jupiter, wants to go to Saturn, Mars, Venus. Nobody cares for Mercury. And without Mercury, you can't live, because Mercury is the breath that has been loaned to you. Okay? If you're living, that means you're breathing. If you're breathing, that means it's a loan that is given to you. This is why Mercury is exalted in the sign of Virgo, which is the 6th house. 6th house is what? Debts. You are always in debt. Even if you pay your material debts off, your biological debt is still there, because you're living on borrowed time. That's Mercury. Mercury is ideas. Mercury is intelligence to execute those ideas. And here Mercury is now surrounded by 3 malefic planets while having access of Rahu on the other side. And usually if this conjunction occurs, if you have this conjunction, most of the time, I would probably say 38% of the time, a person will also have Sun in this conjunction, which we'll discuss later on. But Mercury is always in a very heated, a very, a compromising situation in this particular conjunction. So this is why we see a lot of anxiety happening, a lot of miscommunications happening. A person can be a victim, or a person can victimize someone. Usually this person will victimize someone, especially if this occurs in the ascendant. Okay, if this is occurring in your ascendant, that means you. This is you. This is who you are. If it occurs in the 7th house, sure, then other people will try to victimize you. That's how you try to study this. Like, let's say if this conjunction is occurring in the 11th house, you'll be the victim to your elder siblings and their abuse. 3rd house, younger sibling and their abuse. So we want to see who's implementing that abuse, who's implementing, that harsh those harsh circumstances related to this conjunction. Because Mercury is that one soft planet that usually like to be with benefic planets. Mercury can cheer and get drunk with all the malefic planets. Mercury can meditate and be part of a seance, a satsang, whatever, with the benefic planets. Sure, but it really will enjoy much more of a company when there's talk of God than talk of blood violence and blood violence and destroying someone. Or even technology. Technology is not something to be proud of or to be looking upon as something more advanced. It's not. It is just a very primitive source of trying to know what is around us. That's the thing. Technology is just a very primitive source of knowing our actual universe. The real scientists that existed 8,000 years ago in Trita Yuga and Satya Yuga, they didn't need none of this thing that we need, which is a camera, internet, light, softwares to do our work. They didn't need none of that. So, Mercury is workable here, but it really would rather not. It's not the best of the character of a person that comes out with this Mercury. And also, when it comes to education, usually this can, like I said, it can bring about technical education, but one may also have no interest in education. One may deter, one will have lack of education because Mercury is surrounded by malefic planets. So then you have to see which houses is being ruled. So let's say if the 8th Lord, 6th Lord are now conjunct Mercury in this conjunction, and this conjunction, let's say, occurs in the 4th house, you bet you will either not be able to finish your degree, or if you do, it'll just be, like you'll be dragging yourself on the street just to get that degree. So there's also all multitudes of dimensions that occurs with this conjunction. You just have to see which house lords, the planet is, and from there you can get a whole lot about this conjunction. But what I'm explaining here is simply the most basic and ground level, like the foundation of this conjunction. Okay, so guys, this was my analysis of Mercury, Mars, Saturn, Ketu conjunction. If you're new to my channel, subscribe below. And if you want to know where your conjunction is placed, all the other astrological details, my books, reports, consultation, check out the links here. Otherwise, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.